Okay. Now this game I didn't see 1 second of because I was not doing commentary until 11 a.m. my time, and this game ended about 10 a.m. my time. So they were talking about it. This was the big upset. This position is about equal, and Mamedyarov made 2 blunders in a row and lost. Now, white's better. I mean, there's double isolated pawns here. So it's better to have white. But if two engines are playing, it'll be a draw. Bishop e2, trade queens, and it's better to have white, but it should be a draw. And here's what's funny about this, which I don't think anybody pointed out, even though I have no idea what anybody pointed out. But I'm going to guess nobody pointed this out. That's what I'm going to guess. I'm going to guess the reason Mamedyarov played bad moves is he wanted to win. And if Mamedyarov was like, I should make a draw here, I think he would have played bishop e2 and made a draw. That's what I think. But I don't think Mamedyarov was interested in a draw. Mamedyarov's like, that's a good bishop. That bishop's shallow and pedantic. Why am I making a draw? I'm paired down against this guy. So probably Mamedyarov is so aggressive all the time that he doesn't not be aggressive when he should not be aggressive. He can't help it. BCD 84. Unlicensed? You're eaching an unlicensed. I have to see your license. Yeah. What? Okay. So he played very, very bad move here, e5, which solidifies his bishop, but it opens up this diagonal. So it makes this bishop a monster, and after this move, white has a big advantage. That was terrible, e5. I mean, black had a bishop on d4, and white's never playing bishop d5, and then he played e5. Horrible positional move. Now white's obviously better because, now weak pawns, this pawn's weak, and so forth. And now he blundered again. And I understand why he blundered. He played king g7. King g7 isn't a blunder, is it? He's just losing. It's not a blunder, he's just losing. Like e5 was such a horrible blunder that he can't recover. You can't defend the pawn with the queen because your bishop's attacked. You can't defend the pawn with the rook because my rook is on your rook. So your rook would be overworked. Wow, e5 is worse than I thought it was. And I thought it was bad. What a terrible move. Now, the gawking rabble, and by gawking rabble, I mean people who are a lot better than me, they said Mamedyarov miscalculated, insinuating he saw bishop d5, he saw bishop f7, but he thought he had tricks that were fine for him. I don't know if that's true, but that's what they said. It would make more sense that he just totally underestimated that, but all right. Okay, so he did this. And then he's down 2 pawns. Miscalculated what? Now, what if I take this first? What if I play this move? See, maybe Mamedyarov did miscalculate. Maybe Mamedyarov's calculation was rook takes rook, rook takes rook, rook f8, and the engine does say this is equal because of the, this battering. So maybe when he played e5, he saw this, and then he saw this, and then he's like, oh, here. And this looks like it loses material, but see, this move normally would win material except it gets checkmated. If white takes this, or this, or this, white's losing. But white has checkmate. And he probably didn't see there was a checkmate. Obviously, king h8, this is mate, so you have to go here. Now, the queen's defending this, but this is just mate. This is forced mate, and this is a quicker forced mate. This is the only legal move. This is the only legal move. And this is a brilliant win. Is there other winning moves? I assume. Oh, yeah, every move is mate. King here, king here. Yeah, but this is the nicest. If you take, this is mate. And if you play king here, then this is mate. All right, so I believe when Mamedyarov saw this, and miscalculated that. Yeah, I believe that. Yeah. It's funny because black can throw this in, and this is the only winning move, even though you could take with check now. Because you can't play bishop takes e8 because your queen's hanging. Damn. So yeah, it is a miscalculation. Yeah, he probably thought he could play rook takes here, and this just wins immediately. And he miscalculated it. I understand that. Now he's just 2 pawns down for nothing. Now, on Twitter or the chat on chess.com, I think it was the chat, on Twitch, when somebody said, why did Mamedyarov resign so early? And when he resigned, he was, his game's no good. I mean, yeah, he resigned here because he's down 2 pawns for nothing. And people on the internet were like, why did he resign? I don't know. It looks like he's down 2 pawns for nothing. Seems like an easy win. Wow, he just blundered all of his pawns because he thought he could play rook c1. I didn't understand bishop e8 well enough. That makes sense. Yeah, when you're calculating checks and captures, you can't be wrong. When you calculate strategical or positional moves and you're wrong, then you're worse. You calculate tactical moves and you're wrong, then you lose. And usually his calculation's pretty on point. And he's always playing the most aggressive way. But there his calculation was wrong, so he lost all his pawns. That wasn't good. No. Terrible. He's not a 1,200 player. He's at least 1,300. Yeah. Would Carlsen lose 2 pawns down? It doesn't matter who's playing. You're losing. Carlsen might not resign, but it doesn't mean he wouldn't lose. This reminds me of the famous story. There's a bridge player that 98% of you haven't heard of named Ben Crane. And Ben Crane was also a Hollywood producer of shows like Mission Impossible. And also he was murdered, and they solved his murder like 30 years after he was murdered. They arrested somebody in another state. And that's weird. That just happened a year ago. They solved his murder. But anyway, Barry Crane was a famous bridge player for many, many, many reasons. Not because he was good. He was good, but for other reasons too. But anyway, Barry Crane's playing against, an older woman, which is typical. And Barry Crane makes some bid, and the woman says double. And Barry Crane looks at her and says, double? Ma'am, do you know how many master points I have? Like half kiddingly. And she says, no, but I know how many high card points I have. So, I don't know who I'm playing, but I know I'm up 2 pawns. And white's winning. It's not really up to Magnus to not lose. It's up to his opponent not to win. If his opponent doesn't want to win and plays bad, then he won't win. But if his opponent plays competently, then he will win. He's up 2 pawns for nothing. Yeah, the only reason people would question the resignation is because they haven't heard of the white player. If Magnus was white, everybody would say, well, yeah, he resigned. He's down 2 pawns for nothing. And Magnus crushed him. Yeah. But those kinds of things that you guys think about, they're not thought about at the top level. You guys are like, I'm 1,600 and my opponent's 2,000 and I'm up 2 pawns, so I'll offer a draw. And that's why you're 1,600. If you're 1,600 and you're 2 pawns up for nothing and you offer a draw, you shouldn't play chess. You should stop playing chess. Play some other game. Because you're not trying to play the best move and you're not trying to win. You're just saying, wow, my opponent's good and I'm not. You know your opponent was 400 points higher rated than you before the game started. That has nothing to do with the position. Position's winning or drawing or losing. If it's winning, you don't offer a draw. That's ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, White's supposed to win. Obviously, he's disgusted with himself giving all of his pawns away. Hopefully he would have lost if he had played on. I wouldn't resign because I don't resign. I mean, if I was playing Magnus or a 1,200 player, I'm not resigning here. I don't want to resign. When I resign, it's too late. That's when I resign. I don't resign when there's a 0.01 chance I can draw. I don't do that. Yeah, when I resign, it's no good. When I resigned against Jeffrey Zhang in the World Open, I could have resigned 5 moves earlier, but I don't resign. Then when I resigned, it was silly. Then like somebody doesn't know the rules could beat me. So I wouldn't resign here. But that's not to say I wouldn't lose. I would expect to lose. And so forth. Did he offer a draw? What? I'm 1,700. If you played me without queen and rook, would you still beat me? And easily, too. Let's see. Shaq past his prime. Man, truth hurts. Man, people like to talk about somebody's chess strength based on the game they just played. And we discussed this in earlier streams over the last 3 weeks in basketball. Now, this is what's funny about basketball. You would think that if somebody played in the NBA, and especially if they were a famous NBA player, but that doesn't really matter. The fact that you're playing in the NBA is good enough. That you wouldn't just be like, oh, that team won, so they're definitely going to win the series. Oh, the other team won the next game, they're definitely going to win the series. That's just what people who have no understanding of anything would say. That's what you guys say all the time. And all those experts who do basketball analysis, that's what they do. Phoenix won the first game, the series is over. Phoenix won the second game, the series is over. And then Milwaukee wins 3 games in a row, and now they think the series is over. Milwaukee's going to win. I mean, the series is over when it's over. It's not over during the series, but somehow whoever wins the last game, they're going to win. So Mamedyarov lost, and, he could still win the World Cup. This is game 1. You lose when you play chess. The truth hurts. Sometimes you lose. But you can't judge somebody's chess career based on one game, based on one blunder. But you guys like to do that. You're like, Saren lost, he's out. And I'm like, well, not yet. He'll be out tomorrow. But yeah, the truth hurts. Yeah, it's better not to play chess so these things don't happen. When you play chess, you blunder and you lose a lot. And then people make fun of you. Man, harsh. Yeah, I would never do that. Like, let's say you take somebody who was good a long time ago, like, I don't know, Kasparov, right? Obviously, Kasparov doesn't play as well now as he used to, so I wouldn't make fun of him. Never. I mean, I expect him to do worse, and, that's the way it is. It's not his fault. So, Kasparov has a bad result. We're like, hey, nice try, good job. That's what I would do. Delicious. Oh, so magical. Subscribe. Good. Good. Yeah, if anything, I gave him too little credit. Yeah.